The theater lights were dim, but the energy in the rehearsal room was electric. For weeks, Sam Heughan had poured every ounce of his strength, passion, and discipline into preparing for one of the greatest challenges of his career, portraying Macbeth. This was no ordinary role, no casual performance. It was Shakespeare's most tortured character, dark, complex, demanding, and Sam was determined to leave a mark that fans and critics alike would never forget. From the very beginning, his commitment was total. Early mornings stretched into late nights as he studied every line, every pause, every subtle gesture. He spent hours working on the physicality of the role, sword fights, fast-paced choreography, dramatic falls that required precision and control. Cast members often joked that Sam trained harder for Macbeth than he ever did for battle scenes in Outlander. But behind the laughter, there was admiration. Everyone could see the fire in his eyes. On that particular day, the rehearsal room felt more intense than usual. The cast was running a pivotal scene, the confrontation that pushes Macbeth toward madness. The air was heavy, filled with tension as actors shouted lines with raw energy, their bodies clashing in a carefully choreographed storm of movement. Sam, dressed in simple rehearsal clothes, held a practice sword in his hand, sweat dripping down his face. He was in the zone, giving everything to the role. But then, something went wrong. In the middle of a complex movement, as Sam lunged forward with powerful force, his foot slipped on the polished floor. The timing was off by just a fraction of a second. A twist, a sharp impact, and suddenly, the commanding presence of Macbeth was replaced by a cry of pain. The room froze. "Stop, stop," someone shouted as Sam collapsed to the ground, clutching his leg in agony. The wooden sword clattered loudly beside him. At first, people thought it was part of the scene. After all, Sam was known for his commitment, and he often pushed through minor stumbles to keep the energy alive. But the look on his face said everything. It wasn't acting. His jaw clenched, his breathing rapid, and his hand pressed desperately against his thigh. The rehearsal room erupted into chaos. Stagehands rushed forward, fellow actors bent down beside him, and the director called for immediate medical help. In those terrifying seconds, the transformation was overwhelming. From a powerful warrior rehearsing his destiny, to a vulnerable man in excruciating pain. Sam tried to speak, his voice strained. "I can't move it," he whispered, his face pale. The cast exchanged horrified glances. This wasn't just a bruise or a minor strain. Something serious had happened. The minutes dragged on like hours. They carefully helped him onto a stretcher while trying not to worsen the injury. The silence in the room was deafening, broken only by Sam's labored breaths and the urgent voices of those calling emergency services. His determination, so evident moments ago, had now turned into a quiet fight against the pain. As he was carried out, some of his closest colleagues followed, their faces etched with fear. The director, normally calm and collected, looked shaken. The production team whispered nervously. What would this mean for the show? Could Sam recover in time? Would the role have to be recast? Questions swirled, but no one dared to voice them too loudly. What struck everyone most in that moment wasn't the disruption of rehearsals, but the fragility of the man they all admired. Sam Heughan, the strong and charismatic actor known for enduring long shoots in freezing weather, intense battle sequences, and grueling schedules, was suddenly vulnerable. And that vulnerability cut deep into the hearts of everyone present. The ambulance sirens grew louder as they approached the theater. Within minutes, Sam was being rushed through the city streets to the hospital. Fans outside, who had gathered to catch glimpses of the cast, watched in confusion as emergency vehicles sped away. Rumors began to spread immediately. Something had happened, but no one knew exactly what. Back inside the rehearsal space, silence lingered. The props lay scattered across the stage, the sword abandoned where it had fallen, as if Macbeth himself had been defeated before the play even began. Everyone waited for news, but for now, all they had was fear, uncertainty, and a gnawing question. How serious was the injury? The hospital lights were harsh and sterile, a sharp contrast to the dimly lit stage where everything had gone wrong just hours earlier. Sam Heughan lay in a quiet room, doctors working quickly, nurses whispering updates in hushed voices. The official diagnosis had not yet been shared publicly, but whispers among the medical staff hinted at something more serious than anyone had initially hoped. Meanwhile, outside those hospital walls, news of the accident spread like wildfire. It started with a few confused tweets from bystanders who had seen the ambulance speed away from the theater. Then came frantic posts from fans in group chats, forums, and Facebook pages. By the time evening fell, #PrayForSam was trending worldwide on Twitter, with thousands of messages pouring in every minute. For fans of Outlander, the shock was personal. Sam wasn't just an actor. They saw him as Jamie Fraser, the heroic Highlander who had endured countless hardships on screen. To know that the man behind the role was suffering in real life created a sense of collective grief. People shared their favorite memories of Sam. His warm laughter in interviews, his dedication to charity, the countless hours he spent signing autographs and greeting fans even after long shoots. Each post was a reminder that this wasn't just a celebrity in trouble. It was someone they deeply admired and cared for. The media, of course, seized the story immediately. Headlines flashed across major outlets. Sam Heughan hospitalized after Macbeth rehearsal accident. Paparazzi gathered outside the hospital, their cameras ready to capture any glimpse of the star or his team. Television anchors spoke in grave tones, replaying clips of Sam's career highlights as if summarizing the life of a man whose future had suddenly become uncertain. Inside the hospital, his closest friends and colleagues gathered quietly. Katrina Balfe, his longtime Outlander co-star, was among the first to send public words of encouragement. On Instagram, she wrote, "Sam has always been the strongest person I know. Please keep him in your thoughts. He needs all our love right now." The post quickly garnered hundreds of thousands of likes and thousands of heartfelt comments. Others in the entertainment industry added their voices. Theater directors praised Sam's commitment to the stage, actors shared personal anecdotes of his generosity, and fans from all over the world began organizing virtual vigils. Some lit candles at home and shared photos online with the caption, "For Sam." For his family, the weight was even heavier. Though they kept a low profile, a close friend revealed that his relatives had rushed to be by his side. "They're shaken," the friend admitted, "but Sam is a fighter. If anyone can get through this, it's him." As the hours turned into days, updates remained scarce. Doctors were cautious with their statements, noting only that Sam was under observation and receiving the best care possible. This ambiguity left fans in a torment of speculation. Was it a broken leg? A torn ligament? Something worse? No one knew for sure, and the silence only fueled more anxiety. Yet amid the uncertainty, something remarkable happened, a wave of unity. Fans who had never met each other began connecting across countries and languages, united by their concern for one man. Online fan clubs organized donation drives to Sam's charity foundation, saying they wanted to honor his spirit of giving even as he healed. Others created video compilations of well wishes, editing together thousands of short clips from fans around the world sending messages of strength. Theater critics, too, shifted their tone. Normally sharp and unsparing, many wrote with empathy, highlighting the sacrifices actors make in their pursuit of art. One columnist wrote, "We forget that behind the spotlight are human bodies, fragile and breakable, carrying the weight of our expectations." Sam Heughan's accident is a reminder of the courage it takes to bring Shakespeare's words to life. Back in the hospital room, Sam reportedly grew restless, asking about rehearsals and whether the cast was continuing without him. Those close to him knew this was typical. He had always placed the craft above himself. But for once, the people around him urged him to slow down, to think not of the stage, but of his own recovery. For fans, the waiting was torture. Each passing hour without news felt like an eternity. And yet, their loyalty did not waver. If anything, their love for him only grew stronger. He had given them years of performances filled with courage, passion, and heart. Now, they wanted nothing more than to give some of that strength back. As the second night fell over the city, Crowds gathered quietly outside the hospital, holding candles, their faces illuminated by the flickering glow. They didn't shout or chant, they simply stood together, united by hope. It was a scene both heartbreaking and beautiful, a reminder that even in moments of crisis, the bond between an artist and his audience can be unbreakable. And so, the world waited. Would Sam rise again, as he always had on screen? Or would this injury change the course of his career forever? No one could say. But one truth was undeniable. Sam Heughan was not facing this battle alone. An army of fans, friends, and loved ones stood behind him, ready to carry him through the darkest chapter of his life.